Good morning. This meeting of the Madera County Board of Supervisors is now called to order. And County Council, do we have any additions to the agenda?
Chairman, there are no additions to the agenda.
Okay, that will be read closed session into the record.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the board. Your items for closed session begin with labor negotiations under Government Code Section 54957.6. Your agency designated representatives are Roman Noriega, Joel Begay, Susan Carter. The employee organization is all units, excluding elected officials, but including all classifications of unrepresented employees. There is real property negotiations with your agency negotiator. I'm going to read into the record the Assistant County Administrative Officer Joel Gay. Under negotiation is price, terms, and conditions of sale of water rights, and the assessor parcel number 03531005600 with the Madera, California address on the agenda. The next set of matters is under Government Code Section 546.9 subsection D1. It's an existing litigation matter. Cardoza et al. Versus Madera County. It's a Madera County Superior Court case number MCV 08621. There's conference with your legal counsel under 54956 of the Government Code, point 9, pursuant to paragraph 2 or 3 of subdivision D. There's two cases, and the last item is under Government Code Section 54957, the employee performance evaluation of your county administrative officer. Thank you.
Thank you. Any public comment on this item, on any of these items?
None online.
Okay, with that, we'll go to closed session. Ready? Okay, we've returned from closed session. County Council, anything to report from closed session?
Chair, there is no reportable action from closed session. However, there still are items on the closed session agenda. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we're going to open and close this memory, this meeting in memory of. Anyone have any person to do that in memory of? Okay, if not, let's see, we are very, very close to December 7th, which a day that will live in infamy, and we want to remember those who sacrificed their lives for our country on December 7th, 1941. And if you don't remember that day, it's Pearl Harbor Day. So um, we're grateful for individuals who have served our country and given the ultimate sacrifice so that we could be free. And so we remember them today. At this time, we'll stand and do the invocation. I have Pastor Roger Leach.
Thank you. It's been a joy for almost 40 years of coming and opening this body with prayer, and I thank you again for the honor today. Read from Isaiah chapter number 11, verse number 1. It says, "There shall come forth from the shoot of the stump of Jesse, a branch from his roots shall bear fruit, and the Spirit of the Lord will rest upon him. The Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord. And his delight shall be in the fear of the Lord, and he shall not judge by what his eyes see, or decides disputes by what his ears hear, but with righteousness he shall judge the poor and decide with equity for the meek of the earth." So, Lord, today we give you thanks for this time of the year that we celebrate the birth of your Son. We ask that today that the spirit of peace, joy, and happiness be upon us. Lord, I pray for this county that you will continue to bless and guide it. Lord, with the supervisors that you have blessed us with, we ask for their encouragement and their strength. And Lord, we pray for the entire staff of Madera County today as they continue to do the job to seek the very best for this county. We bless this meeting today in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor, for 40 years. And you've crowned that achievement with what we see behind us here, because you were largely behind that. Appreciate you so much. Thank you. Ask Nick Salinas to lead us in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice. Public comment.
First 15 minutes of each regular session are set aside for members of the public to address the board on any matter under the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. The board will not take any action on any items presented under public comment. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet of the podium and state their name and county of residence for the record.
Hello, good morning. Tracy Kennedy, your treasurer tax collector, and emphasis on the tax collector right now. Just a friendly reminder that taxes are due the 10th, but the 10th's on a Sunday, so you get till the 11th. And collections are coming in pretty strong. We collected over $1 million just in e-checks over the weekend. And don't forget, e-checks are free, so to pay your property taxes. We've probably collected 65, 70 million thus far. We have about that much more to collect. Everybody waits the last minute. I don't recommend it, but I still got one more to pay myself. So anyway, security has been really helpful. They'll come up, they'll stand in the lobby and give us any support that we'll need. So I appreciate that. And, we're using the drop box outside. We remodeled Becky's drop box from elections to tax collections. And then we also have a drop box here in the lobby. We have a drop box outside our office. So we have places that you can make a payment. We also have a drop box at Sheriff's Department up in Oakhurst, so which is inside for security purposes. So you can drop your payment off there too. So anyway, I just wanted to give you an update on how things are going.
Paid mine last month,
See, that's good. I'm going to
Early
get you
bird,
something.
but I don't get the worm, so.
Anyway, thank you.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. First of all, I want to let the tax collector know I'll be contributing to the tax base afterwards, after this meeting, as I'm taking my son to lunch. So we'll get a few more pennies there. Good morning, supervisors. I'm Larry Salinas, and I'm here this morning to introduce my affiliation with Cagley Environmental and to let you know that I'll be serving as an extension of that company as you guys are navigating the issues relative to compliance on SV 1383. And like the Caglia family, who have had decades-long service to the Central Valley, I too have had many decades of service, not as long as they have, but over 40 years in the Valley doing governmental relations. And I'm no stranger to this county. Started out when I worked for PG&E in this territory, and back in the late 90s, you guys might recall when the county building caught fire and that devastation that occurred at that time. PG&E stepped up and provided an in-kind contribution of furniture, office furniture for the county to get back on its feet. I worked with then County Administrator Stel Manfredi and some of your predecessors. And then I went on to UC Merced and helped launch that campus and had many a discussion with then Supervisor Bigelow over the placement of where that campus was built. But I'm glad to report that it's thriving and that many of their staff and faculty are living in Madera County. And lastly, and most importantly, I have 2 adult children that live here in Madera County and a 9-year-old grandson that is in Supervisor Rogers' district, goes to Lavina Elementary School. So we have some deep roots here, and I'm looking forward to working with you, with the Caglia family, and helping you guys in that process of compliance. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Larry, and appreciate you introducing, even though we know you well.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman, Board of Supervisors. This is Deborah Martinez. I am the Director of Social Services and your public guardian, as you know. What you may not know is what makes up my executive team. So I thought I have just filled in the last couple of months 3 of the 5 that make my executive team. So I thought maybe it would be a great opportunity to actually introduce them. So the brand new Deputy Director over Child Welfare, Nikki Matus.
Good
Morning.
morning. Nice to
Morning.
meet you all.
Welcome.
Love DSS.
I love, so excited to be, no, really super excited to start my journey with Madera County. So
Good job.
Let's welcome her with a round of applause.
Yeah, that's a tough job. And Yang He is my new Senior Staff Services Manager over fiscal, another huge job.
Good morning, everybody. I'm excited to be part of the DSS and to be a new resident of the county. I am very excited to see how our services grow and in support of our community. So I'm excited to be here.
Give her a round of applause.
Okay. And Vivian Garcia, who is our new Deputy Director over Self-Sufficiency. That's all CalWorks, Medi-Cal, CalFresh.
Good morning. I did want to say that I'm very thankful for having the opportunity to work in Madera County. I came from Fresno after 25 years, and in the last 2.5 months that I've been here and working with Deborah, I'm really excited to be part of this team and serving the people of our community. So thank you.
Welcome.
Now, Ken Shirley is not new. However, he has been newly reclassified as my Senior Staff Services Manager because he is over facilities, IT, and personnel, so he deserved a Senior Staff Services position. So Ken?
Good morning, everybody. I'm just excited to continue working with DSS. Love Deborah, love DSS, love Madera County. I live here, so thank you, guys.
Now, really, my only veteran in the position he's in is Steve Duckworth, Deputy Director over our Adult Services and in my administrative team.
Good morning, board. I never thought I'd come up here and say that I feel like an old timer, but I'm the old timer amongst the group now. So it's a pleasure to serve with this team. Excited to have our new folks on board. So looking forward to the future.
Thank you for your continued
you.
service. All right,
And we appreciate your time. Thank you.
thank you.
Chair, and I don't know if it would be appropriate. I know we have a busy agenda, but would it be okay after we're done with public comment if we went down and took a picture with the new team?
I think so.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Let's do that right now.
Morning, Chairman, members of the board, Jared with Public Works. Just wanted to take a minute to update you on a couple of things and give you some good news. A couple things. I also wanted to thank our Measure T Citizens Steering Committee. I had the chance to accompany them on a tour this last Saturday and take them around some of the areas of the county and show us some of the conditions and things that we're facing. But a very positive tour for the day. Notably, it was positive because nobody got sick on the bus, so that's great. We didn't exactly take the most, what I would say, the most straight routes, but it was a good opportunity, and I really appreciated the time that everybody took on the committee to be part of that tour and learn some stuff about what's going on with our transportation network and needs. Also, want to let you know we've completed the Road 5.5 Bridge project after many years of being closed and damaged. That bridge is done and open. So that was completed and open actually about the middle of last month to the public, and we're moving right along on Avenue 25. I know that's the next one. Still looking at probably early 2024 on completion and reopening of that project. As you know, it's a much larger project. In addition to that, our team in the Public Works has been working very diligently to prepare and submit 25 more applications for bridge projects, everything from maintenance to rehab to replacements. And so we're hopeful that we'll be successful in getting awarded some of the Federal Highway Bridge Program funding for some of those projects coming in the next, it'll be several years worth of projects, but trying to get that built up and go after that funding. Lastly, I want to let you know that we did receive actually a couple awards for the Road 200 Bridge project. We received the American Public Works Association Central California Chapter Project of the Year for projects between 5 and 25 million for that project. We had a chance to go to their ceremony a couple weeks back and received that award. And then we also received a merit award from the American Council of Engineering Companies, ACEC, which, we didn't win the top one on that one, but we did get a merit award. So just wanted to share that with you. We got a lot of these projects are very complex and intricate projects that are being recognized throughout the state and other agencies as very, very good projects. So just wanted to share that information and thank you for your support on all that.
Thank you, Jared. Appreciate that. And congratulations to you and your team.
And great job last Saturday. Thanks for participating. Heard some great reports. Thank you.
Thank you. We have one comment online. Kendall, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Kendall Flint, DKS Associates. I'm actually a resident of San Mateo County, but I've been spending most of my time in Madera, as most of you know. And I'm just checking in this morning to just say thank you so much to Jared Carter and the entire team at Public Works. The Measure T Steering Committee was able to visit all 5 supervisorial districts. Jared and his team provided pavement condition information for all of the roads that we went on. We were able to provide all of the attendees with information and background about projects that were funded in part by Measure T or made possible by that. And we were able to, of course, have representation from all 5 supervisorial districts. So it was an interesting new approach to this, but we found that it was really worthwhile. And again, I just can't thank Jared and his team enough, as well as Monty Cox for making arrangements for Raquel to be our driver. And it really was helpful for people to see firsthand places like Lavina and Fairmead and the eastern part of the county where maybe they weren't as familiar with some of the challenges that residents face. And I think seeing that really helped us all get a better understanding and hopefully will help us put together a good measure that can be supported by the public. So again, my thanks to Jared and the county team.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments under public comment? If not, we'll close public comment. We'll go to consent calendar. Any items to be removed for separate consideration?
Chair, I have a couple comments and then some questions on item J.
J?
Correct, sir.
Okay.
And so the comments are kind of in regards to comments we've made over the last month and a half or so about contracts, retroactive contracts. We had requested to staff that we make some amendments to our board letters to request information as to why these contracts are coming before the board retroactive. And expanding upon that, my concerns over board letter, when we have items like item I, where the fiscal impact is simply stated as not having an impact on the general fund, that doesn't really sit that great with me. I'd love to have some more explanation of what the total amount being spent is, what the source of those funds are that are being used. So it just seems kind of insufficient. So I'd like to see in the future more information. And I don't know if we have to have an item come back from staff in order to make that codify that or what have you, but I'd love some, I guess, feedback maybe from county council on what we need to do there.
Chair, members of the board.
Sorry to put you on the spot, Regina.
Oh, not on the spot. Thank you, Chair, members of the board. So with the board letters, it sounds like there's request to ensure that anything that is retroactive, and there are a few on this consent agenda, as you mentioned, that the board letters include an explanation of any retroactive nature of any agreement or contract. And then also that the fiscal impact not be as generic when applicable. And so overall, it sounds like in working myself with administration, we can potentially send out an update to all department heads about how board letters might be beefed up a bit. And I think that's absolutely
helpful.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Supervisor, just to follow up on that, we're taking note on that because we do review that. So we take ownership on the fiscal impact because we do approve that fiscally. So in the future, we will require departments to put more detail, not just simply that it's no impact. We do verify that it's no impact, but we'll put the reasoning why.
Okay, thank you.
And Chair, if I could, and just one more comment I was going to make, and it was brought up on letter I as in igloo. In that sort of contract, there's some work that we're doing too with the clerk of the board's office, just this morning, thinking through some things on that Patagonia agreement. It's for medical management system, and I'm not sure. Oh, Sean, you're there. So Sean, you can come up and correct me where needed. However, this agreement was entered into back in 2018, and back in 18, we include language, and sometimes we do, the board authorizes any amendments or other documents to be executed. In this case, in 2018, it was a public health director. So you'll see this amendment coming back, and on the backup, it says it's the sixth amendment. And so some of the things that we'll be doing to make sure that these are clean and beefed up and accurate on the records for the board is items 2 through 5. We'll work with the clerk of the board's office and our office to make sure all the amendments that were done in between this one coming back is all in each other's records. So just a note on I. Thank you.
Yeah, my thoughts too are that retroactive actions should be the exception and not the rule. And it's rather presumptive to engage in a contract when the contracting entity hasn't approved that. So I wonder what would happen if this board did not approve a retroactive contract. Wonder who's going to take care of that. Wonder how that would work. And so it's very important that we get our thoughts in line with the action.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair, and
Yes.
thank you, Council. And in regards to my questions on item J, it looks like the additional costs associated with this item are going to be a pass-through cost. I'm just curious to know who's going to be incurring that. Is that the people that are being tested? And what is that additional cost to those folks?
Good morning. My name is Sean Kirkpatrick, Deputy Public Health Director. I'm happy to answer questions on J or speak about I. Relating to J, I do want to mention that the agreement was written that it takes effect, the effective date will be the date that it's approved. So that is something to keep in mind, that all the changes that we're implementing for the Siemens agreement, for this replacing the previous one, it would be effective as of when it's approved. As far as the cost in this case, because it's a rate, it really depends on the level of use. Well, so right now the drug testing services, which this agreement allows, is provided by public health to probation and hopefully in the future to behavioral health. So probation right now, we provide drug testing for 4 different drugs, and they express interest in expanding that to a higher number of tests that we can run essentially on the sample. So this was by request of probation, but as far as the net impact, it really comes down to the level of testing that they need. That is something that absolutely in the future for all items, we can put a higher level of detail on what we think it would be based on projections of the level of testing that they might need. It really can vary a lot over time. We noticed a significant decrease, for instance, during certain times of COVID, and then it started to go back up from there. So unfortunately, because it has varied pretty significantly year to year, that's been a little challenging to project ahead of time. One of the changes that this agreement really allows is to help protect the county from liability for if there's shortfalls in the expectations from the company, while still trying to negotiate a good rate. So yeah, all item J, it's really just about a rate per test that we do, and it's called a reagent purchase agreement, but the amount of reagents we use is directly proportional to the number of tests that we end up running. I hope that offers some explanation.
It does help, but I think what I'm curious about is that cost being borne by probation, or is it being borne by the people who are on probation, or that's just what I'm looking at.
I'm not as familiar with probation's budget. I do know that for all the drug tests that they send to us to run, then we charge them. We're currently in discussions about updating the rate with them to reflect the higher level of testing that they're requesting. That currently is still under discussion right now, but we have run what the higher cost would be. I don't happen to have that with me right now. But that's something that they, as their budgets allow, then they use us to provide the drug testing services. Personally, I feel it's probably cheaper to go internally through the county than to an external company. It also allows a high level of cooperation in regards to the specific cases. As I recall, I'm not a subject matter expert specifically in the drug testing, but I know that it relates to court cases, and because of that, there's a high level of requirements on actually keeping the samples for a prolonged period of time to be able to send to an external lab if it ever's challenged in court. So it's pretty easy internally for us to share what those requirements are, be fully aware of them for legal compliance in regards to the court cases, and provide long-term storage of samples for running future tests. I believe we offer a high level of service for definitely a comparable cost. I believe the need to increase the tests from 4 different drugs they were testing on to, I believe, 7 was also for increase uh, support for court cases.
Excellent. Thank you for the education. Appreciate it.
If I may speak on item I. So yes, Patagonia.
Was there a
Sorry, that's a
question?
question for the chair.
Was there a question on item I? Anyone?
Oh, no, just a comment from county council. So if there's no questions.
There's no questions. Yeah, we don't want to belabor the issue.
Thank you.
All right. Any further items to be discussed? If not, we'll take it out to the public. Any public comment on this item on the consent calendar? No comment? No one online? Bring it back to the board. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move to approve.
Motion
I'll
made.
second.
Let's vote.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Supervisor Wamha?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley?
Yes.
Chairman Rogers?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay. At this time, we're going to take a brief 10-minute recess for tree lighting and pictures. So feel free to enjoy festivities.
We have Christmas.
We're going to go to item 6A.
6A, County Administration Department, General Services Division, discussion and consideration of entering into an agreement with Friends of Awani Hills Regional Park in the amount of $1 per year for lease of real property located at 43469 Highway 49, Awani, California, for a term to commence November 1st, 2023, and to terminate October 30th, 2036, and authorize the chairman to sign.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Amber Mojica, Senior Analyst for General Services. Here to talk about Awani Hills Regional Park. Little presentation going. So just some background info on this. On May 10th, 2011, your board approved entering into an agreement with the Friends of Awani Hills Regional Park, referred to as Friends, for the lease of real property and for the operation as a public and recreational park until June 30, 2031. And then on January 27, 2015, your board approved an amendment to the agreement to include additional acreage of the park. So this new contract, just to clarify, all it does is update the contract language and extends the term until 2036. So the current contract is still valid till 2031, but this gives them an additional 5 years, and this contract will supersede all prior agreements. So some park information. So Awani Hills Regional Park is in Awani Hills. So the park has walking trails, hiking trails, and equestrian trails. And the Friends of Awani are committed to the maintenance and operation of this public park. So you're probably wondering the reason for the request. Why, if they have a contract until 2031, do they want to extend it to 2036? It's because they want additional time to pursue grant opportunities, and they're looking for grants to restore the old cafeteria, to create a community center, to restore the pond, and then to replace maintenance equipment. So this is just an example of one of the buildings that are out there. This is their old dining hall. It has a lot of historical value, so they're looking at grants to restore this building. So our recommendation is to approve the updated contract that extends the term by additional 5 years, just to give Friends ample time to make improvements. And I'm here for questions, and I also have Britt Wasson here from Friends of Awani, or if you guys have any additional questions.
Any questions? If not, take this out to the public. Any public comment? Bringing it back. What's the pleasure of the board?
Chair, I'll just make a quick comment, and
Yeah.
I do want to thank Britt for being here. Has a tough job managing the park out there. Not a lot of resources available other than, a lot of community hard work, a lot of volunteers. So thank you for all the work you do, Britt. Really do appreciate you guys keeping the park open, keeping the lights on, and providing a place for people to go and recreate, and looking forward to, everything you guys do next. So thank you again. And with that, I would move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion made and second. Let's vote.
Supervisor McCauley?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Wampa?
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Chairman Rogers?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay, before we go to item 6B, I understand Supervisor Walhoff.
Thank you.
We have them present first or no?
No,
Okay,
before the
so,
item is culture.
Item 6B, this is in relation to Madera Food Bank. When the board had initially approved a $528,000 expenditure, I didn't see any breakdown, but on this agenda, I see a breakdown that includes a solar proposal with Trinity Power. I have a frequent business dealings with Trinity Power and mutual interests at times. So just out of an abundance of caution, I'm going to be recusing myself from this item.
Great, that's fine. Thank you. Doesn't hurt to be cautious. Okay, so
6B, County
Go ahead.
Administration Department, discussion and consideration of entering into an agreement with Madera County Food Bank in the amount of $528,378 for a grant made available by ARPA funds to build a new single-story pre-engineered metal building warehouse with office space, and authorize the chairman to sign.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Jessica Leon, County Administration. So the item before you is for a grant to the Madera County Food Bank. As mentioned, it is in the amount of $528,378, and it is being funded by ARPA. It is meant to help the food bank complete the new facility that they are currently working on. And the grant is meant to assist with very specific costs, such as freezer, refrigeration cost, kitchen equipment, and other interior furnishings. And with that, food bank staff and county administration staff are available for any questions.
Okay, are there any questions from the board? If not, I'm going to take this out to the public. Any comment from the public on this item?
None online.
If none online, bring it back to the board. What's your pleasure?
Mr. Chair, I was just going to make a comment in
Yeah.
regards to the use of ARPA funds. I'm very pleased with the County of Madera and my fellow colleagues in terms of the very judicious use of ARPA funds. If you look and see where the funds have been allocated, it's been spread out for the good of the community. In addition to working with the process of reopening Madera Community Hospital, the county has had the best interests and the deep interest of the needs, understanding of the needs of our community. So I'm very pleased to see us move forward with this. Thank you.
Appreciate that statement as well.
I'll echo those comments and just want to, I'm excited for this project to come forward. And I hope this is a glimmer of happiness for you, Ryan, since today is your birthday.
Oh,
Okay, that's it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ryan. Happy birthday to you.
He's gonna have to pay some birthday bucks at Rotary.
And with that, I'll move to approve.
He moves to approve
I'll
and
second.
motion made and second. I want to make a quick comment. I really appreciate not only Ryan's friendship through the years, but the vision and the direction he's had for this organization. And he's certainly done a stellar job. And you are an amazing man. You've done an amazing job for your community. I appreciate you, and I know we all do. Let's give him a round of applause. With that, let's vote.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley?
yes.
Chairman Rogers?
Yes,
Wamhoff recused himself. With that, the
Yes.
vote passes 4-0.
thank you. Thank you, and congratulations. Carry on, as they say, to great things. Let us know how we can help. All right. You're welcome. You're welcome. Item 6C.
Public Works Department, discussion and consideration to adopt a speed bump installation policy to guide and standardize the process for requests for installing speed bumps or humps, sorry.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board, Jared Carter with Public Works. Yeah, it's hard to get that one straight, I know. The item before you this morning is a request for adoption and approval of a speed hump policy. As you probably know, our department receives quite a few requests for various traffic control devices and speed control devices in out throughout all areas of the county. And so we have guiding documents that we utilize on a lot of those things. More recently here with development, particularly of areas like Riverstone and Tesoro Viejo, we've received a lot of requests for installation of speed humps or speed bumps, depending on who asks for them. And so our department has worked on this policy to basically standardize and have a process for getting these installed in areas when folks are requesting them. I could tell you that we've done a lot of research and reaching out to other counties in the state, discussing and looking at how they're handling this as well. And it's very similar to what's been prepared here. Some of the key points I would just highlight in the policy is number one, there is a request process that has to happen, and the neighborhood has to come together to make that request to the department. Once that's submitted, there's a various approvals and reviews that happen both at a department level, along with our emergency services and other folks, to ensure that we're not going to create an issue for emergency response and things like that. Um, and then also, once that goes through that process, if it is approved, it is funded by the applicant to have these installed. It is not something that the county would fund. Um, as you all know, we are very limited on our funding and what we can do to maintain our roads. So these particular devices and installation of these would be something that the public or the community, and the case maybe of a maintenance district, they could choose to pay for it with their funds if that's something that they wanted to do and put their funding towards. Um, uh, we did provide a couple alternatives in terms of how that gets installed. It can be done by the county. We can do that through a contract, which would require, prevailing wage and those sorts of things because of the public aspect of it. Or as an alternate to that, residents can choose to hire a contractor and an engineer to present that and have those installed if approved through the process. So I'm available for any questions if you have them.
When you talk about speed humps, are you talking about there's a difference between a bump and a hump, and the difference is the speed at which you can traverse over those. Can you explain that?
Sure. Yeah. So, other than the obvious difference of the spelling, the bumps are what are utilized primarily in parking lots. Those are the very
Right.
narrow and high, taller bumps,
Right.
usually in parking lots and areas where you're doing very, very low speeds. The humps are wider and a little flatter, and so they're not necessarily as abrupt when you go over them. And it is something that you tend to see, again, in residential type areas, which is part of what's outlined in the policy. There are certain roads that qualify and would be considered eligible for installation of these devices.
Right. You can travel over them at about 25, 30 safely. Anything past that, you risk sailing over them.
I have a question. What is the average cost of a speed hump with PW and all that stuff incorporated?
That's a good question. I don't know that I have the dollar figures exactly on that. It would probably depend on if we're doing single or double humps and exactly where it is and how wide the road is. But I can get you an estimated cost figure on that.
Okay, any more questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that when I read this item over the weekend, my mind instantly went to about a dozen different communities up in the mountains where we've had requests for speed bumps, and this makes for a great alternative. And so just grateful that you guys put together a very thoughtful policy around, how we're going to request these and how they're going to be paid for. I think that's going to make life a little bit easier because I can only imagine we're going to have an initial, um, you know, outpouring of requests for these speed humps because I know there again are a lot of communities where they've been requesting things of this nature. So thank you for your thoughtful work around it.
Yeah, appreciate that, Supervisor. And I agree with you 100%. Having something in place like this, I think will make it easier for the community to understand, the process and how that has to happen. It'll certainly be a good tool for Public Works to use in you interacting with communities in these requests. And then, of course, for all of you, when you get those requests too, you're, more than welcome to hand out the policy to folks and let them read through it and understand and contact our department. We can take them through the process.
Jared, what's the lifespan and the maintenance?
I mean, these will probably last just as long as the road, if not longer. I mean, I guess I'll say it depends on how they're treated. If you got a lot of people hitting them hard, right, you're going to get divots and things like in those things. But generally speaking, I think the maintenance isn't really any more than maintaining the road. I would say that there is kind of touching on that point, there is part of the policy talks about removal and what it takes to remove them and that process to do that as well. If for some reason they go in and the community changes their mind and decides that maybe we don't want these here. There's also another process too, and it's not included in the policy, but it is something that we can look at and work with the community. They do make temporary speed humps that are made out of poly material that you can put in maybe as a trial sort of thing to test them out and see how it works. And so that's something that we could potentially look at maybe doing in a community where they want to test it out and see what they think, and if it's effective, make it more of a permanent.
Thank you.
Okay, any questions from the public, comments from the public on this item?
None online.
Thank you. We'll bring it back to the board. What's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Motion made.
I'll second.
Let's vote.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Portress.
Yes.
Supervisor Warmhoff.
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
Yes, thank
Vote
you.
passes 5-0.
Okay, 6E.
6D.
Oh, did I pass D? Sorry about that.
6D, Public Work.
D.
Public Works Department Engineering Services Division, discussion and consideration of entering into a cooperative agreement with the California Department of Transportation 06-1795 for the project initiation document to add a southbound lane on SR 41 between SR 145 and Road 209 and authorize the chairman to sign.
Good morning again, Chairman, members of the board. Jared Carter, Public Works. This item is a cooperative agreement with Caltrans, State Department of Transportation, related to the additional southbound lane from Road 209 to 145. For those of you who are around when the Madera Quarry was approved, and as outlined in the board letter, this was a condition that was part of that project. The county is responsible to complete the environmental and right-of-way acquisition portion of the project, and then the construction portion is funded and paid for by the Madera Quarry. So to start that process, we have to work through Caltrans for the what's called the project initiation document to get that going. So this agreement outlines the roles of Caltrans and the county in that process and how that's going to be paid for. I'm available for any questions.
Okay, any questions?
Chair, just a question. I'm excited about the idea of expanding, the lanes from 209 down to 145. However, my concern comes, we've already got 4 lanes there just north of 209. And so we're going 4 lanes back to 2 lanes, then to 3 lanes. And just that pattern of consolidation and then expanding and then possibly consolidating again, obviously I think can cause for some traffic, congestion, some issues. And so is there any possibility that the state can come in and help us with that section from 209 to, where we have the 4 lanes? And what kind of conversations have we had with the state in regards to that?
So I think that's definitely something we've talked about and we can look into. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, our road impact fee program actually does include some work to do all that connection all the way up to the existing passing lanes. But we could certainly have some discussion with the state in this, the process for this PID document to see how we might be able to expand that or look at that. I don't believe it's a requirement, condition of the quarry, so it's something that the county would have to probably look at how we could fund that and how that would look moving forward. But it's definitely a good point. We can definitely have that conversation as part of this.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, any more comments? Any comment from the public on this item?
None online.
Okay, bring it back to the board.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Let's vote.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Portress.
Yes.
Supervisor Warmhoff.
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
6E.
6C, Public Works Department Engineering Services Division, discussion and consideration of entering into a cooperative agreement with California Department of Transportation 06-1777 for the project initiation document to add a southbound lane on SR 41 between Avenue 15 and SR 145. Project Austin Quarry, conditions of approval, and authorize the chairman to sign.
Chairman, members of the board, Jared Cardigan, Public Works. This is another cooperative agreement with Caltrans. This is for the additional southbound lane from 145 down to Avenue 15. So it would extend that continuation of that southbound lane from the previous one that was just approved, going down to 15. Again, this is a condition requirement of the Austin Quarry project. This particular project would be fully and completely funded by the developer, all phases, including right-of-way and environmental. I'm available for any questions.
Any questions? Not, we'll take it out to public. Any public comment on this item? And online?
None online?
Bringing it back to the board.
Move to approve.
Made.
Second.
Let's vote.
Supervisor McCauley?
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh?
Yeah.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Chairman Rogers?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
6F.
6F, Board of Directors, Special Districts, County Service Area number 22B, Table Mountain Children's Hospital Public Works Department Administration Services Division. Discussion and consideration of approval or receipt of unanticipated revenue number 23-044 in the amount of $825,697 derived from CSA 22 Table Mountain Zone B fund balances to refund overcharges and operation transfers out for fiscal year 2023, 2024. 4 votes are required.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Andrea Saldati, Deputy Director with Public Works. Before you this morning is an RUR, which essentially is freeing up all of the cash in the CSA 22B fund. CSA 22B was prior Valley Children's Campus. It is now represented by CSA 22C, which has its own special taxes and its own system to be able to pay for all of the infrastructure and maintenance. And so essentially what we're doing is we're closing out 22B. And with that, we did a full reconciliation of the fund. And there is some dollars that need to be paid for their fire services, which is from 22-23. We reconciled all the way back to the inception of the fund and found a couple of missing payments back from like the early 90s. And so what we're doing is we're truing all of that up, and then we are giving the rest of the money back to Valley Children's. Valley Children's is the only person that has put the money into the fund, and so it is due back to them. It is essentially an overpayment for engineering services. That's essentially what they were assessed for, was engineering services that was never actually used. And so we will give them back all of those funds, and essentially they will recycle that money back into paying for CSA 22C. So we are closing out the fund for 22B, and they will be paying essentially the dollars we give back to them back into 22C. I'm here for any questions.
Any questions? If not, we take it out to the public. Any public comment on this item? Bringing it back to the board.
Here, just a quick question. So that amount going back to them is going to be $825,687. Is that correct? Is that?
Yes, back to Valley Children's is $332,731.
Can we send it to them in a big check?
Yeah, big cardboard check.
Big cardboard
Yeah,
check?
like Publishers Clearinghouse. Show up with some balloons.
Yes.
Okay,
I
yeah,
love it. Thank you.
no problem.
We invited?
Absolutely.
Move to
Okay,
approve.
Motion made.
I'll second.
Let's vote.
Supervisor McCauley?
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Chairman Rogers?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
6G.
6G, Board of Directors, Special Districts, Maintenance District Number 19, Parkwood, Treasurer Tax Collector Department. Discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of the 2023 Series Grant Anticipation Note not to exceed the principal amount of $500,000 to provide a short-term cash advance for Maintenance District Number 19, Parkwood.
Hello, good morning. Tracy Kennedy, your treasurer tax collector. As you know, for several years now, we have done this program, which is essentially investing in our local maintenance districts that need help with some of their funding and then that way their projects. So the treasurer, we don't lend money, we buy debt. Okay, so that's what this maintenance district is doing. It's issuing debt, and it's the repayment is based on a revenue stream through the state of California. So it's 500,000. And it's okay, Jordan. It's all right. It'll be fine.
Really just tears me up.
I know. It'll be fine. And we included a little PowerPoint, which we've done several of these, so I think you probably have seen them over and over, but we can run it again if you want me to.
No, that's not necessary.
Anyway, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, any questions?
Andrea's here too.
No questions. Let's take it out to the public. Any public comment?
So I would just like to say thank you very much to Tracy and her staff, because without this program, without her purchasing our debt, pretty much none of our water sewer projects would be able to move forward. And we would be looking to a private bank, a private entity to loan us this money at a much higher interest rate with more stringent requirements. So we greatly appreciate being able to do this in-house and have this available to us to use, because again, we would not be moving forward with projects without this.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to also mention too, we're not compromising returns to the county, because what we're doing is we're cutting out the middleman who is going to be collecting fees and points and
Right.
all kinds of stuff. So it's good for the county and it's good for these projects.
It's good for the district, I mean, it's legal investment for me. And of course, you notice that there is an actual note that is created that goes through county council, and Dale Bacigalupi, he's an expert at this. So yeah, so no, the pool's not suffering, but it is a good deal for the district, and it's short term.
Right. Very good. So I already asked for public comment on this item, brought it back to the board. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, let's vote.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Chairman Rogers,
Yes.
vote passes 5-0.
Is there any pending legislation?
Thank you.
Thank you.
No pending legislation, Chair.
Okay, supervisors and staff reports. Supervisor McCauley.
I will be on my way to Davis after this meeting to attend a State Association of Resource Conservation and Development Councils. We just started a new association, which is great. We'll be looking to bring some federal and state dollars back to Madera County. But in addition to that, I was informed earlier that it is my colleague's birthday on Thursday. And since we may not have an opportunity to sing her happy birthday, I thought we would take a quick second to sing Supervisor Gonzalez happy birthday. So 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Supervisor.
And Tracy.
And Tracy. Birthday to you.
Thank you.
All right. Supervisor Poitras.
We had an outstanding groundbreaking yesterday at the Madera Rescue Mission. Many agencies that took part in the collaboration were there. And as Supervisor Gonzalez pointed out, it's not one individual or one department that makes things like this happen. It's working together as a community and many agencies. So it's not the completion. It's not the end. It's just the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you. I attended MCTC on Wednesday. It's a number of other meetings, but which I won't go into detail about mentioning. And that's it. Supervisor Wamhoff.
Last Friday, I attended the Golden Valley Chamber of Commerce and Kiwanis tree lighting event, and it's great to see more people in attendance there than I've seen in years past, and had some vendors out there, and it was overall a good night for the community get together. That's it.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Just a quick announcement on Thursday at Oro Viejo. There'll be a Pearl Harbor Day ceremony at 9:55 a.m. and the public is welcome to attend. And that is my report.
Okay. CAO,
Nothing to report, Mr. Chairman.
County Council,
No report, Chair.
work of the board.
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we're going to go back. into closed
Mr. Chairman, I just had one item as a staff report on the development services
Okay.
trend. Carrying on a little bit from a public comment we heard last week, I wanted to let the board know and the public know that our environmental health staff is out doing the final inspection on a business located in the city of Madera, right for the public and the board. Environmental health inspects and approves all food permitting facilities in both cities. So they are out at In and Out as we speak right now, doing their final inspection out there for them, and anticipate that opening by the end of the year.
Good. Can't wait to get my first burger from there. All right. Love it. Thank you. We're going to move back into closed session and finish our closed session, then we'll come and report out at the end. Okay, we've returned from closed session. County Council, anything to report from closed session?
Chair, there is no reportable action from your closed session.
Okay, this meeting is then adjourned.